This is my interview with Madison C.C. Baddoberan. And she is an artist, a full-time artist.
Yes.
So welcome, Madison.
Hi.
First of all, you were an architect for many years, is that correct?
I was a designer. Yeah, not an architect. I didn't take the test. But yeah, I did building design for 25 years. A lot of my work for the majority of my career was conceptual design, schematic design development, and making that design happen.
Did you enjoy doing that work?
I did. I still do.
Oh, and you still do some?
I do a little bit. I do houses. I do nonprofit work, and so what that means is for little or no money, I'll do a design for a nonprofit cultural group, and then they can take that design to an architect who's registered, and they can follow through with it.
You seem to be very active in the art community, and also an advocate for the underdog, or a voice for the underdog. Have you always felt strongly about these concerns?
Yeah, I have. I've had a very difficult upbringing as a child, and so a lot of the disability I face is mental disabilities with that. And so being an artist with disabilities, it's telling other people's story in a way tells my story, and it puts them in a different kind of a light.
And sort of gives you more compassion, doesn't it,
yeah,
really?
it gives compassion.
Your preferred medium is oil paint?
Oil on canvas. Yeah, I'm in love with painting oil on canvas.
Well, what do you like about it?
I love the way it feels. I paint with my hands. I love the way it smells.
I didn't realize that. So primarily with your hands you paint?
Yeah, primarily with my hands. And I've been doing that ever since I was about 5 with finger painting. And I just love the tactile feeling.
That's interesting. That's like as direct a contact as you can get.
I know, right? And I found that with my hand, I can do really fine lines with this edge of my nail, or I can, you know, the hand can really replace all those brushes. Plus, for me, painting is almost like sculpture. The way I can build up an oil painting, and when I paint, it brings me to this other dimension. So it's a dialogue. I'll make a move, and it's sort of a chess game. I'll make a move, and then I'll stand back and look at it, and then the canvas will tell me something about that move. I'll get back in and start making a move, and an hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours will pass like that, and so I become, in a way, the painting.
Do you have a direct vision before you start?
I try to do pieces where I start, and you know, with the German expressionism, usually it's about emotion, or lately I've been combining that with social issues. A lot of my work has female characters in the work, and so...
And why is that?
I think that the female voice is a voice that is underrepresented.
Do you feel like it is a even playing field now for men and women in the art world?
What I dislike in any aspect of the world with this idea of men and women, which is gender essentially, is men using the term men and women. And in one way, women's groups will say, well, we identify women because they're underrepresented. Like my work speaks for itself, and when you look at the work, it really doesn't, you don't get an idea that it's painted by a woman or it's painted by a man. And I'm very serious about my oil paintings, and in the past and even today, I think there's less tolerance in the art world for women, and so I'm a huge advocate for women, although I think women really need to step up and just do the work. There's a lot of strong women artists, there always have been, and I think that many of us just prefer to be able to do the work. When it's labeled, there's less tolerance from the male majority. I think that the playing field is more level than it has been. Women are very strong, and it takes men and women to make the world. And so let's just get over this gender issue and get on with the business of being human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel competitive in the art world?
I just have to paint, and I feel the competition that's out there because I apply for grants, and I apply for shows, the same thing that many artists are, and there's a lot of competition. I'm trying to change the world more or less with art, or just pacify myself. I've always painted. If you want to know really about me, look at the paintings. It's very emotional for me. It's a very personal experience for me, and it's an experience that is necessary, I think, for me. Definitely necessary.
So it's like food.
It's like food.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't paint, I'm sure I would die.
Or starve.
I would starve to death. I'm sure I would. Absolutely. It's in me.
Tell me about teaching. You said you're going to start a school of paintings.
I'm going to start a school, and it's something I've always wanted to do. It's a vision I've had since 2000,
mm-hmm.
and what it entails is it will be called Be Art School. It's basically reforming the Bauhaus in America, in contemporary society, and having a school that would allow architecture and all the arts to be under one roof, where a painter could go into an architect's studio and we could actually envision and design a building together, or a musician could come in there and do that.
So more intuitive.
More intuitive, and since the Bauhaus, it's really been separated, and there's...
What is your connection with the Bauhaus?
My connection with the Bauhaus is it's my favorite chapter.
And why is that?
I just think that there's a lot of great ideas there. One of the main ideas is to rid the designer of preconception. Basically, it was a combination of art and design and architecture. And the reason why I started doing architecture is because I was, as a child, would look at buildings and I could see that proportionally they didn't work. Intuitively, I was always a designer, and when I graduated from high school, my parents, they felt I needed to get a career. And so the only career I felt that I could probably do would be drafting, and because it involves some drawing, and I could probably do that 8 hours a day without losing my mind. And I excelled in that, and I was on the dean's list and did very well, and won them awards. And so then I started working as a drafter, and then mentors and owners of firms would see my design talent, and then I started becoming a designer. So that's how I got into architecture. So that path, I did take some classes at the University of Minnesota, and I also went to school and started that process of my education at Southern California Institute of Architecture, but I didn't finish. And so intuitively, I was on that path for architecture, and just learned by doing.
Tell me about the music.
I play guitar, I play piano, I play keyboards, and I play trumpet. But mainly I just use it as to sort of like keep me in check.
So obviously art is an emotional outlet for you.
Yeah, so is music. Like when I become really angry, one of the best things I can do, and the best way I can really get that anger out of me, is by grabbing this guitar and just playing it really, really hard. And usually after about a couple minutes, I don't have the anger anymore.
Do you listen to music while you're painting?
Very rarely.
So quiet. You have it quiet.
It's not quiet. I usually get the street noise. So I hear.
So that's your music.
Yes, I'm real keen on what's going on in the environment.
Like you said, the urban experience.
It's real gritty and it's real urban.
So how important do you think social media is in presenting your work? Like on Facebook, for instance, do people notice your work?
It's been important for me to infuse myself more with the local art community, because that's how many artists that I haven't met know of me. And my work is really taking off now, and I think social media is a big part of it. I think social media is really important for a visual artist, because you know, it's almost more important than my website. I think many more people go to Facebook, so I think it actually will probably start replacing people's websites. And I really hated it at first. I don't get out too much, you know, it's basically...
So that gives you a window to the world. I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's become that way.
Mm-hmm. Now play me something.
All right, I'll play you something.
If you could build a weatherproof building out of paintings, what would it look like, and what style of architecture would it be?
It'd be very sculptural. Right now, what I'm looking at doing is doing paintings where I build canvases, and I'll build multiple pieces of canvases and then have paintings in between, so it actually becomes very sculptural and very architectural. So it's interesting that you bring that question up, because it's kind of a natural transition to go from that then into what would that be as a building, as a painting. And I think it would be very sculptural. I think that the style would be, contemporary. It'd be of our place and time.
And would it be one continuous painting or lots of panels of different paintings?
Well, if I had a choice, I'd like to try both to see which one I like the best. I also think what's interesting too is doing an architecture built out of forms that takes its cue from a painting. So maybe from a distance or up in the air, it would look as a form taken from a painting. There's also that element of architecture that I've actually thought of. But I think it's a very interesting, and I think it'd probably be doable to do the skin of a building out of canvas and paint, because once the oil actually infuses, it's fairly waterproof. You know, I believe.
Yeah, oil paint is very durable.
Yeah, really becomes a question of how do you heat it and how do you insulate it thermally with that.
Why did you choose pizza today? You were very specific about what you wanted.
Pizza is my favorite food. It always has been. My favorite ingredients, and they are thinner crust and pizza sauce, mozzarella, of course, feta cheese, Kalamata olives, and basil, and roasted garlic. It is very good.
Good. I think I need to know what's up and coming, so tell me about that.
Well, right now I have a really great show at Cox Gallery, and I have Poco Wine Room. In January I'll be doing my solo show there. I have a piece of artwork that's going to be traveling with an exhibition by Artability Fair, which is artists that have disabilities, and that'll be a touring show. And so it's going to have a piece of artwork that tours. And I just recently had my photograph taken, and my picture, my photograph, my portrait will be in a book of creative people. And my picture from that will actually be blown up to be 30 by 40, and it's going to be in the show, I understand, in Boston.
Exciting.
It's exciting. So things are really exciting for me. Things are good, you know, things are really good, and they're happening. And so I'm riding a great wave in the Seattle art community, and I'm just working on keeping that momentum.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure to talk to you, Madison.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You bet.